Hi, and welcome back for part 10 of my story about my brain collapsing into my spine and medical negligence that almost killed me. When I left you last, I just stood up. I was standing on my own, fiercely, powerfully standing on my own, with a PT by my side, of course. Just in that moment, a good friend of mine that I worked in the emergency room with happened to walk up to the door to come and see me. She had been planning to come and visit after she got out of work, and she made it just in time to witness this moment. When I told the PT that I was feeling like I was okay, I said, "Do you think that I could just try? I just want to try to take a step." Sure. So because my friend was there especially, I felt extra empowered because we worked in the emergency room together. I knew that she could help if something happened, but I had this PT by my side that I had learned to trust her too because we had just embraced each other metaphorically in this moment of my life changing and coming back to me just a little bit. So I took a deep breath. She explained to me what I was going to do, and we were going to try to make this happen. So I said, "Okay, I'm ready." And it was like every piece of every moment throughout this entire journey played before my eyes. And it's the weirdest experience to try and explain to you because I mean that. Every moment of sadness, every moment of heaviness, it was like it all came down to this moment. And although I had done this already, right, and it didn't work that time, this time felt different. This time felt like I had the people that I needed, and I had the moment that I needed, and I had the support that I didn't realize was what I needed in that moment. I thought that something was missing, but in that moment, it was what I needed. So I took my deep breath, and I picked up my left foot, and I moved it, which was my good leg, right? And I stayed steady on that right, and I slid my right leg to meet my left. And then I stopped. Okay. I laughed and I cried and I said, I want to do it again. So she said, "Okay, let's keep going." And with this friend by my side who had always been a bright spot since the moment I had met her, like she was serving a purpose I didn't even realize that she would later serve. I took this next step and I slid that leg to meet the other, and I kept going. And I took a few steps and I got really tired really fast. And I don't even know that I can call it a step because really it was more of a shuffle slide, but I did it. And so I sat down and I took my breath and I said, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see my PTs tomorrow." No offense, but I can't wait to see my PTs tomorrow because I just did that. I just did that. I went back to my room and I took my moment. I called my mom, of course, and told her about this fantastic feat that I had just had. They had me signed up to go swim that evening, which I was really excited about. And so I went and I was excited now. They wheeled me down there and I was so ready. They got me in that pool and I did these exercises and I felt weightless in that moment. But to graduate myself to that moment where I could do that now too, I was making change. I was making things happen. And I know that so much of the credit goes to the people that were helping me because so much of the credit goes to them too. But I was doing it. And I had doubted myself and questioned myself so many times in this journey, and I had wanted to give up, and I didn't, despite that heaviness. And I kept going despite wanting so badly to just be done. And I kept doing the things. The next morning I woke up and I had a full day ahead of me. I was stoked to be able to see PT, and I saw my OT and I celebrated with her. And I saw speech and I celebrated with her, and we played a game. And it was like things were starting, the puzzle pieces were starting to turn and kind of click back into place. And even though not every puzzle piece had found its way in yet, and not a lot of them ever found their way back, but it was finally like the pieces of myself that I've been searching for were just, it was starting to turn and click. My provider came to see me, and he said, man, I was really ready to have that conversation with you where I said, I'm not sure that your brain is ever really going to connect with your body again in the way that you were hoping. And I thought I was going to have to break your heart. And I said, nah. I knew from the time I met you that you weren't meant to break my heart. You were meant to save me. In your own way, you were meant to save me. And he did. He did all of this research, and he dug through all of my charts, and he found that my brain in my last scan, just within years before that, was fine. It was tucked up nicely into my skull, and it looked fine. My structures were normal. I didn't have headaches. I didn't have dizziness. I didn't have the ringing in my ears. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any of it. And then something as simple as the dura of my brain just not being strong enough was the only answer that we could find that would explain why I rolled over in bed to go to work and it tore open and my brain herniated into my spine. And then, as we've talked about already, all these things happened afterwards that made it so much worse. But I looked at that man and I said, because I don't know that there's an answer. I accept what you're telling me. I accept that. I said, but I also accept that I firmly believe that I'm here for a purpose. My mom always told me that I was here to serve a purpose. And I had a first grade teacher who told me that my voice would matter, that I shouldn't be told that I shouldn't talk so much because my voice was going to change the world. My first grade self said, yeah. And my new 32-year-old self said, that really sucked that we had to take the path that we did. But maybe this all happened for a reason. And maybe there's not a good medical answer. Of course, I accepted the one that he gave me, and he's right. I do have Ehlers-Danlos, and my dura did tear, and my brain did do that. It did herniate into my spine. That's a fact. But maybe in the grand scheme of everything, it happened because someone out there, whoever that being may be, knew that someone needed to have a voice for the people that couldn't, for the people that didn't make it, for the people that weren't strong enough anymore, for the people that didn't feel that they had the words to even explain how it feels. So my old boss that I mentioned earlier in the story comes to visit with her daughter and her soon-to-be daughter-in-law, and they laughed with me and embraced me. My grandma and my mom and my dad and my ex-husband and my kids, they all come to see me and they all embrace me. And all of this power that I had been searching for, that sure, I had some of it within myself, but it was this reminder that I was surrounded by these people that when I couldn't stand up, they stood up for me. They held me up. They continued to fight for me. And I knew that the brightest spot in my entire story was yet to come. But now it wasn't just that I wanted to believe that it was true. It was that I knew it was true. I knew that that next moment when I saw PT was going to change the trajectory of what was to come. I felt that reconnection of that piece of my body and that turn of the puzzle piece to click into place. And I had to keep going because the brightest moment was still on its way to me. One more. Hang in there.